Hello, hello. Just making sure that we're actually online. Yes, we are. Okay, let me close down some windows and we will start working. Okay. I already kind of started working on this while being part of Doug TeNaples' stream this morning. He launched a new book on Indiegogo, and it's just interesting how comic artists are using Indiegogo now. It's such an interesting time. So it was kind of fun to talk to those guys this morning. So if you missed it, go over to Doug's channel and you can see it. I didn't talk much because I'm more fascinated to hear what Doug and everybody else was saying. Anyway, hey Syntax AI, is it AI? It is going good. I'm gonna try to crank out the rest of this page. This is another one of the older pages of Phobos. Not old. It's not the old Phobos. This is the new Phobos, but it is a page I did probably in 2014, late at night, and it's one of the few that I never finished, and so I'm trying to just finish it real quick so that I can move forward with the story, because this is real early stuff in the Phobos story. I'm gonna just kind of follow this look right here because I like how this turned out. And I would just use it, but I enlarged this canvas, and so it's kind of a blurry outline. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. Woo-hoo. So I might not talk a lot because I'm trying to just really crank out the work. I'll comment on comments though randomly. So if you have a comment, definitely leave it. Or if you have a question, definitely leave it in the comments. I will hit up the questions randomly. It's interesting though, so this isn't answering a comment, but I'm just kind of thinking out loud. It's interesting how there's been so many comics, not so many, but quite a few now, comics come out on Indiegogo that have made a lot of money, and yet they're like, it's like $25 for a comic book. And the comic book hasn't been created yet. And, you know, it's such a, wow, it's so different than my strategy has ever been for Kickstarter. But it's really making me start to think about that approach and how I could possibly work in that kind of way. Because what I've been thinking recently is that I would have a patron-only comic, which is this, and that I would give my patrons of a certain level or more a physical comic book issue every 3 months or so. But I'm wondering if I should offer that instead as like maybe an Indiegogo type comic book, and give my patrons like the patron discount, where it's like a pledge level of like $5, and my patrons will get the book, whereas everyone else would pay $25 or something like that, you know? I don't know. I just don't know. But it's really interesting seeing all these other guys who have a name, you know, they do have a name, so that's kind of the big difference. I don't have as much of a name as these guys do. I haven't worked professionally with Marvel or anything like that, so it makes it a little harder to know if that's going to work for me too. Let's kind of keep some of this stuff. These are sketches from a long time ago. The scribbles on this character are really old, but I think I'm going to kind of keep a lot of it. I like the looseness of it. That's one of the things I really want to do with Phobos, is just have it very loose. Unlike some of my other stuff, which is a little more time intensive. Okay. Charlena, what do you mean by I'm limiting how much money I'll make? By my my idea to limit it, to have a patron only comic? Is that what you're talking about? I'm curious. Let me know what you're talking about. Because I was just rambling. My thoughts were just rambling, so. Which thought specifically do you think is a bad idea? Oops. Never mind, scratch what you said. Super duper. Hey guys, so if you're just tuning in and if you want to leave a question for me, the comments sometimes get messy. So leave in the comments if you want to ask a question to me, put question in bold or question in all caps, and then put your question, and then I'll see it through the chat. But Super Duper says, if you are just starting to make webcomics, how long should you make them? I tend to have trouble starting to make one because I feel as if the story is too difficult for me to do as a beginner. So how long should you make them? I think it really depends on what you are interested in, what you have fallen in love with reading. If you love reading long stories and you just get a lot out of these big epic ones, then that's what you should focus on. If you love like the Flight anthology short story thing, then that's what you should focus on. It doesn't hurt to do a lot of shorts and smaller things for the start to just get the hang of it, though. You know, stuff that you don't really intend to publish, but just to grow as an artist. But I really suggest focusing on the aspects of it that you have fallen in love with more than anything. I say this more as an artist too, who has worked for 20 plus years as an artist. You know, starting and stopping a lot of things. I think you really want to be in love with what you're doing, and what your goal is. You know, Phobos, this thing, I started this when I was in high school. I've redone it so many times now. And now this is hopefully my final version of it that I'm going to start launching soon. And it's going to be really, really long. And it's only because it's one of those few stories that I feel like I love working on it. And so I don't mind this one taking me the rest of my life to do multiple episodes of it. I don't plan on making this be my only comic though, because I have more stories I want to tell. So I feel like this is going to be the one that I do in between. I'll do another book of Phobos in between other things, if that makes sense. That's kind of my thought and plan. But enough about me. Let's see. The second part is I tend to have trouble starting to make one because it feels as if the story's too difficult. Yeah, I hear you on that. There's a couple stories that when I wrote them or kind of came up with the concept, I felt like the story was too difficult for me at the time, and that I wasn't good enough. And so yeah, I waited to kind of go. Cithra was one of them. I felt like Cithra was too difficult for me at the time that I conceived it, and so I took a while to finally get it to where I felt like I could do it next, you know? And even when I was working on it, it felt kind of difficult at times. Let's see. So, moral of the story is you just gotta start somewhere, you know? Really, you can't not do something because it's going to be too difficult, because you're going to learn how to do it through doing a difficult book. Right? So that's one part of the answer. Trying to find a nice wood texture. I thought I had a wood texture somewhere here. That ought to be okay. Just enough to give it something. Give it something. Once I get this thing all flatted out and all the selections made, it'll take shape pretty nicely, I think. Once that's all done, we'll just keep this sky like that. Oh, I did see another couple questions, so let me go back here. David Wright says, "Hi Jason, when, where, how, what? No, when are you uploading the next web comics?" Wait, what? Oh, when are you uploading the next webcomics Have Changed video? I started recording it. It's more technical stuff because it's showing how to install this theme I made, and it'll be giving kind of a demo of the theme, and so I'm trying to get Phobos pages done, and so that there can be enough stuff there for people to interact with it and see how it works. And so I'm planning on doing it this week sometime. But I don't plan on doing a whole lot more as far as thoughts about how it's changed necessarily in that series, unless there's something specific that I need to address. I mean, maybe I could talk about, well, I don't know. I could talk about like this new Indiegogo push, but it's more like speculation from a distance because I haven't been a part of that. The campaigns that are launching right now that are getting big funding, but anyway, so I don't know. I don't know where I'll go with the series. It's kind of wrapping up. I mean, most of my thoughts were put into the last two. Now it's just going to be the demo of the thing, I think. More questions down here. Comical Food said, question, when starting a story, do you focus on concepts, characters, or story world? What do I start with? I think it differs. Sometimes it's moments, key moments that kind of excite me, and I'll realize it kind of has a story potential. And then sometimes it's a character that I fall in love with. And so it's not really, there's nothing really set in stone with how I start developing things. It's got, I got to be inspired by something, and then, I guess there's some cases where I've started out with a concept that I felt like hasn't really been touched on in a way that I want the concept to be, Like, for instance, like if Harry Potter wasn't around yet, J.K. Rowling could have been thinking, I want to do a wizard book because there's nothing wizardy like that I think is good yet. And so she reinvents that kind of series. And so there's a couple ideas that have come about like that. And then I realize there's a bunch of ideas that I've had over the past that kind of works in that world. And then I'll brainstorm on it and hope how ideas come out of it. Right? But and I think Phobos was kind of one of those things too, because I really loved the classic horror look and the classic horror characters, especially in the comedy settings like the Munsters or Addams Family. I loved that when I was younger. And so this was kind of like me saying, I want to do that genre, that setting, those kind of characters. And so it just kind of stuck, Remind came about a lot with interesting scenes and moments that I really wanted to animate and explore, and I thought, wow, this would be cool to have a cat in a robot suit fighting lizards, you know? And so it kind of grew from there. And then as I started writing the stories, it started evolving, you know, a lot. So there's a lot of different ways that it's kind of grown. I don't know if there's one way, though, necessarily. Obviously, I don't think there's one way. And plus, everyone has a different approach, too. But those are kind of some of the ways that I've started doing things. Let's see. Sithra, I fell in love with Miyazaki's storytelling and that kind of character development, I think, mixed with like the spirit world and all that stuff. And I just wanted to put kind of like a Western twist on it as far as religion goes and the way people believe, how people believe stuff. You know, because Miyazaki's work is very well rooted in that culture's belief system. And so that's kind of where that started, and then all the characters and all the things and everything just fell into place after that. So yeah, I guess a lot of it is big global ideas, world ideas and concepts, and then if I fall in love with those things, characters and stories fall into place after that pretty easily. What's going on? I keep messing up. Do a grad, put it on multiply. That's all I'm asking. There we go. Okay, I want to, what do I want to do? I want to draw this girl quickly. At least try to. Girls, not just girl. What do you think about Indiegogo? I think it's interesting what's happening with Indiegogo. Let me just sketch this real quick. I think there's, I can't quite tell if it's like, for instance, like the Cyber Frog campaign that did real big, and Red Rooster that's going right now that's really big, and Doug TenNapel just launched one, and it's going really good for Doug. I mean, he just launched it like a couple hours ago, and I'm not sure how I feel about it because I haven't done things that way. The whole concept of charging $25 for a comic book seems like strange to me, and I don't know if it's just kind of like I have trouble seeing that over the long term, people wanting to spend $25 plus shipping for a comic book if it's going to be a regularly released schedule, like every 3 months. I have a hard time thinking that people are going to want to do that, even hardcore fans. And so I'm feeling like once the newness of that idea wears off, I have a hard time thinking it's going to be a consistent moneymaker at the same level. Doesn't mean I don't want to try it. I definitely want to try it because wow, you know, if that can work, it makes me go. I was just talking about it at the very beginning of the stream. It makes me kind of think, should I do that with, you know, Phobos, this comic I'm working on? Like I'll have about 115 pages done. You know, in so many months. And what I was originally thinking was releasing a kind of a floppy. It would be like the half size of a manga. So it'd be the manga's dimensions, but it would be of only 115 pages or something. And that would be like issue 1, releasing that mainly to my patrons. physically as well. But I'm almost thinking, should I try that through Indiegogo and charge $25 and then give my patrons a discount, like an exclusive patron discount? Like they would have their own tier that you have to be a patron and you'll get it for $5, you know, the patron discount. I don't know. So those are the things I'm thinking about with it. I kind of feel like I need to watch and see how more of these campaigns go, or if it's just a fluke, you know? If it's just the right things hitting at the right time. Because I feel like Kickstarter, like the success of my biggest Kickstarter campaign, the Remind one, was essentially that. It was like everything fell into place at the right time. And I couldn't have, I don't think I planned it. You know, I didn't plan any of that. Like, Kickstarter just hit their first $1 million campaign at that time, and so everybody was reporting on it in the news. Everyone was flooding to Kickstarter to see what's up with it. And then, you know, Kickstarter put my comic on their homepage for a whole day, which brought in another $10,000 that day alone. It was a Sunday too. And so all this stuff, I feel like, was just lightning striking perfectly. And it doesn't mean I can launch a campaign every year and have the same results. And so I'm wondering if that's what's happened with Cyberfrog and Red Rooster and these other campaigns on Indiegogo. Just because there's some weird lightning striking right now. So that's the skeptical side of me as I look at it and think about it. But it doesn't, you know, I'm not saying that because I don't think it could work. I don't know. I don't have enough evidence. But then again, that's how it was with Kickstarter. I didn't have enough evidence when I first started working on Kickstarter campaigns. I didn't feel like I could raise more than $3,000 on Kickstarter, and it felt like a big risk. Like I'm spending a month of my time trying to convince people to join this Kickstarter campaign, and there's no proof that it will really work, you know, but it worked. So maybe that's the same boat that Indiegogo is in right now with the creation of these kind of like individual comic book issues. And maybe it really is going to change and shift the way that indie comics are created. I think I would really like it if that was the way it's going to go. Because that means I can fund upfront smaller chunks, and I think it would be amazing as long as the audience remains and continues to grow and continues to want that. You know, as long as the audience wants that. So those are my thoughts on Indiegogo, what's going on over there. Oops. Gotta give her the square jaw. That's my signature now. Square jaw girls. To keep them as far away from Disney princesses as possible. Okay. question from Mamie. Mamie O. What is your favorite comics that is not your own? Favorite comic that's not my own. I haven't read a lot of it, but I'm I really love this Stand Still, Stay Silent webcomic. When I go there, I'm really inspired because the girl who does that is just killing it, and it's just really neat. It's inspiring. I also love Daniel Warren Johnson's comics. I think he's my new favorite artist. Daniel Warren Johnson. His stuff is just so cinematic, and it's like who's that older artist? Can't remember his name. It's hyper detailed, just intense, awesome action, and you know you're going to get something special whenever you pick up his stuff. And so I really love his stuff. I really want him to keep doing his own stuff, you know. Big fan. And it's neat that we're friends too. That's always a bonus. But yeah, really seriously, I think he's my new favorite artist. Hear that, Daniel? Maybe you're listening. Daniel, you're the best. Serious. Rocking it. Okay. I think I'm caught up. I'm not really thinking about this girl's hair as I'm drawing it, so it's really looking pretty fierce. Maybe I better start thinking a little better before I draw. I mean, look at that. What is going on? We'll see. I'm just going to kind of make this all black because she's wearing a cloak. And the comic is moody, so I can get away with that. Too crazy looking. Arms kind of seem a little long, but I don't think I care. See what this looks like when I flip it. Where? Yep, she looks crazy. tame it just a little bit, right? I want to have a little bit of highlight into the hair, but not overpower it. Where's my brush? Oh, eraser brush. So what do you guys think of the Indiegogo stuff? Do my thoughts seem valid? What do you think of my concern with it? And if you want to answer that directly to me so that I see it, you can put answer, so write answer in all caps, and then I'll read your answer. How's that sound? I don't know if I'm sticking to this too closely. To my sketch. Down with Kickstarter? Yeah. Well, what about the Indiegogo stuff that's happening now with comics? Doing comic artists, kind of more popular comic artists going to Indiegogo. What's your thoughts on that? Why is it working? Does it have legs? Question, I'm curious about your scrolling WordPress theme for webcomics. Does it utilize any sort of archive page and will be able to post double page spreads and allow for reader comments? Yes, the theme is designed so that you can send like your mailing list the new page and then a link to the archive. And then that link will go back to the website to where people could read back as far as they want or start from the beginning or read chunks. It will stack the posts, the artwork together so that they can scroll through it. And then you can click on any one of the panels. It'll pull it up as a single page or single panel, whatever, however you upload it, and people can leave comments on each panel or page. Or you can click through them one page at a time. Or you can go back to story mode and stack them. But you know, the audience won't be able to go beyond the the place where they got the link to. So that's kind of the way I'm developing it, or my friend and I are developing it. And I'm sorry, I didn't think there'd be so much interest in it, and so I should have made all the videos up front and then released them one at a time, easier. But I didn't think very many people would care. But surprisingly, it's been a huge video on my YouTube channel, and I still can't quite put my finger on it. But I thank you guys for liking it and appreciating it. I think my YouTube channel's grown like 900 subscribers just because of that video. It's really bizarre. But yes, I will try to post another video about it and showing you the nuts and bolts of it, and you guys will be able to click around in the archive to kind of see how it works. I suspect there's going to be a lot of bugs that we'll have to work out, but you know, all that stuff will have to just be worked out in time. And hopefully, you know, we don't have a lot of problems with it. I'm putting too much detail in here. And she has bags. That kind of looks like a bag under her arm. I see some people writing answers. So let me look at some of the answers that you guys are thinking about as far as Indiegogo goes. Maybe I'll put a bag down here on the docks. That works, I think. Okay, 1 second, and I'll get into the comments and read what you guys are responding. Does that look okay? I don't know. Okay, let me look at these answers you guys have. This works good with the question and answer thing. Answer. Okay, answer. Chris. Let the comic book foundations crumble from over the top of censorship rules. So you think that, I guess that makes sense. I didn't even factor that in. The censorship thing really is the driving force. And yeah, it's a big deal, and it drives me nuts. And it makes me want to like run away from these from certain platforms that I suspect would want to censor, you know, what my views, whether they're conservative or Christian or whatever. You know, because yeah, that makes I mean, yeah, of course I should have addressed that. That makes a lot of sense though. Good point. Comical Foods. Answer. I feel like that since Indiegogo is a new platform, it does bring more attention to the first projects that are beginning to use it. Well, Indiegogo is not really a new platform. I think it's been around as long as Kickstarter, hasn't it? It's never really gotten the attention that Kickstarter has until recently. There's been a lot more on it that's gotten attention, which is interesting. Austin Sherlified says, I think what Doug is doing is cool because it is an independent creator setting. Smaller books could work since you are attracting an audience that is interested in being the first adopters. Good point. If you, meaning me, Jason, did something like this would you print the smaller books soft cover and then collect multiple ones into a big hardcover book? I'm thinking so. I'm thinking I would, because for my patrons, I wanted to give them soft cover issues as kind of like, you guys are supporting me, here's the issues. And then I would do a hardcover of like 300 pages to Kickstarter. But I could do the Indiegogo technique where I print the soft covers, sell them on Indiegogo for, $25 for these soft cover books, the individual issues, give my patrons the mega discount that only they would get. And so it makes it worth it to be a patron still. And then later I could go to Kickstarter to print the hardcover and just do a traditional Kickstarter campaign. That's my thoughts as of this morning. I don't know if that's good or not. So question by Austin. I already asked that. Christopher R. says, I hope it works out for people, but I struggle to see it long term. I don't know much about it, but it feels like Kickstarter painted differently to me versus a different approach to the industry. I'm kind of with you. Sorry, I can't read your comment very good. Answer, I just visited the Indiegogo page and it has a lot to offer, but at the same time, it could also be something a person can grow to be tired of. I say try it out and see how it works. That makes sense. What do you think about Comicsgate? I just started hearing about it. I think maybe it was you, Jack, who asked me this in a stream earlier. I didn't really know about it, but I guess that's the whole censorship thing and like trying to make comics that are like appealing for girls, or make, I don't know the details of it, or just really pushing the minorities into it so that everyone feels happy, when that's not what comics were ever about before. I don't know. I definitely have to say, over the years, I've grown tired of all the female type characters that are kind of trying to replace stereotypical male characters. And when I created Remind and Sithra, I love the female lead characters, or at least female characters in general, because of Miyazaki's use of them. And I just wanted to imitate that. And I also like drawing girls more than guys. It wasn't to make a girl feel like take on male characteristics, and so now I'm really resistant to making a female lead comic because I don't want to play that game. And so I felt that even prior to the Comicsgate thing, like the new Ghostbusters movie that was all girls, and the Ocean's 8, and I don't know, do any of you guys think the new Tarzan movie looks like a little girl? That's sorry, that's weird. When I first saw that, I thought it was a girl the whole time. And then I mean, not the whole time, but for a lot of the shots, I thought it was a girl because they just like painted her to look like a girl, even though it's a little boy. So I thought that was weird. Anyway, that's a different story. So anyway, yes, it's a fascinating discussion, this whole Comicsgate thing. I don't fully understand it. I've been so isolated that I don't think I get it fully. Let's see more of these answers from you guys. Okay, David Wright says, typically people search YouTube for solutions to problems. For me, I found you when I was looking at getting back into the webcomic game. Did one of the 1999-2008. Did one from 1999 to 2008 and saw that video. Huh, interesting. Well, welcome, David. Indiegogo started around 2009, strictly for film. Oh, interesting. Very good. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep working on this now. I like this discussion, though. I don't know if I'm very knowledgeable about a lot of it. Does that look right? I never know. I need to do a flat for her. Girl flats. I say that I'm like not wanting to do a girl lead in my comics, and then I'm drawing this girl as the main character. But this comic is about Phobos. It's not about this girl. This is she's one of the characters, but she's not the lead. It's more like a team, a group of people. I'm hoping she makes women proud. I don't know. I just said that. I don't know. I had in my older book, Phobos, you know, same characters, okay? And it was like no, hardly anybody has this old book. And a friend of mine read it. This girl who has directed a couple little things and worked in production and stuff. And she came to me afterwards and says, "You really understand women." I feel like you get it with this character and like what women go through. I'm like, okay. I'm happy she thought that. But who knows? I think nowadays it'll probably be more like frowned upon, this character. For those of you who've read Phobos, the old version, you probably know what I'm talking about. This girl will probably be frowned upon as a girl in comics. It's probably going to create hatred for me. Now that I think about it. Whatever. Okay. Stop talking, stop thinking about it, and just keep going, right? Okay, I got enough there. So I want to make the docs work. I do have another page with the doc. Is this getting there? Let me save it real quick. Chris says, answer, female leads are fine, but when they are replacing characters with female or ethnic versions like Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, which all have been switched, that's a big problem. Yeah, I can see the appeal of it just for fun, but I get really annoyed with it to try to justify it other than a fun thing to experiment with that's on the side, you know? Yeah. I agree. I mean, I love strong female characters, but I want them to be female, you know? I'm not attracted to a manly female character, I guess is my thing. And everyone has their different things that they're attracted to, so there's a place for manly female characters. If people want it, they can make it and they can consume it. I don't care, but I'm never going to consume it, and I'm never going to want to make it, you know? Let's just make a big super buff shaved female character just so that everyone's happy, right? No. Anyway, like there's like She-Hulk, that's old. I don't know what I'm talking about, you guys. Just ignore me now. This is getting ridiculous. Okay, moving on. Let me find this reference I was going to look for. I have another page. I think it's the page before this where I've already drawn this doc. Yeah, I need to work on her though. This is another one. I got this far in like 2014, and I don't like her face here necessarily, but I didn't finish it. You know, that this isn't totally finished, and then the right side is not finished. But anyway, that's where I'm at on that. I'll probably do that page next. Finish that page next. And then this is the first page I ever did finished, was the next one, which is this, which I really like how this turned out. The character gets struck by lightning and falls off. Anyway, so that's when I felt like I nailed the style that I was looking for with the new Phobos, is that page. Okay. L. Grindroid, how you doing? Says, Jason, not a Q or an A. I love the digital copy, but I wish you would reprint the original as a patron version or something. Okay, I could see that. I do have it still for sale. It's like in my store, so people can get it. I just make them work for it, you know, work to find it. But perhaps it's something I could reprint with when I do the 300-page hardcover of the new version. Have that be an option, you know. I do kind of want to phase it out though, so that only the true fans, the true collectors, are the ones who have that original. Cam says, Jason, what word on the street is you hate female leads in comics? Do you hate female leads? Your question, you must have like a sentence that you repost with just switching out one word, right, Cam? Because that's an awesome question. It sounds familiar to the other stream. Some female leads, yes, I hate. So I will agree. But there's some that I absolutely love. So I'm enjoying. Okay, Mamio, I don't know if I said that right, says, question, I'm enjoying you talking about storytelling, characters, and story theme trends. Would you make a video elaborating on that? I would love to hear how you tackle a complete story. Oh, that would be a intense one. I'll have to think about it. If something comes to mind that I can put into a video easily, then maybe I'll do something on that. You can kind of get a real good sense of how I write based on my YouTube video called, I think it's called Who's Writing This Anyway? And I kind of talk about my struggle in writing and how my stories kind of come about a little bit. I don't know if it'll help, but it's just a hard one for me to pinpoint. I guess that's why I'm kind of like, you know, I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, there's a lot on that subject that you could have a whole YouTube channel about that. Okay, I was looking at this doc, looking at the reference. I was going to do this. Grad. Make a little bit of a grad here. I need to make like rain puddles and maybe some stuff growing, like weeds. Maybe just kind of like put in some weird little stuff. Oh, my wife's calling. I'm gonna mute myself while I talk to my wife real quick, guys. Guys, my wife just called me home. I didn't bring lunch, and so it's 2 o'clock here, and she made some delicious lunch for me. So I am going to stop streaming, save, and when I come back from lunch, I plan on continuing to stream. So give me an hour, I'll be back. Okay? See you guys. Thanks for watching. Oh man, right at the peak. I've never had 41 viewers before. Just joking. Okay, I'm gonna sign off though, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.